Thanks for staying tuned to Channels Television. A warm welcome to Health Matters. It's good to be with you again on the show. I am Yomi Otaigwe. I trust you're doing great. Today on the program, our focus is on healthy living. We'll be highlighting those steps, actions, and strategies to achieve health and well-being. Plus, we have for you the news making the rounds, both locally and internationally. Do stay with us as I return with our guests on Health Matters. Thank you for staying with us. We'll dive straight into our conversation on healthy living. And our guest on the show today is a professor of community health with the College of Medicine, University of Lagos, who is also an honorary consultant to the Lagos University Teaching Hospital. Professor Alero Roberts, good to have you here, Prof.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So, talking about healthy living, when does it start and where should it start?
Well, we can look at it two ways. We can do head to toe, but I prefer cradle to grave. So it really should start from conception through pregnancy, delivery, early infant feeding, childhood, young adults, adolescents, to adulthood and into elderly care. So it's an entire way of living, and it's a mindset. So it starts with good nutrition, obviously, what the mother is eating while she's pregnant, what she's feeding the baby, and how, children and young adults and adults have a good diet, basically. And, part of the things are, an intentional inclusion of locally available fruits and vegetables on a daily basis. Avoiding processed foods, avoiding, those quick fix noodles, avoiding fast foods. By fast foods, I mean things that are prepared without a conscious attempt at looking at hygiene and proper, safe methods of food production and food preparation. That's what I call by fast food. You don't know what water has been used. You don't know what is added to it, and so on like that. Sweet things are not bad, which is why I emphasize the locally available fruits and the oranges this year. Have you tasted them? They're amazing. So naturally sweet things, fruits, honey, that's fantastic. But adding sugar to everything, refined sugar to everything that a child eats, and we're seeing it now. We're seeing that flip where, we're seeing children with overweight and obesity. It's not helpful.
So it's actually very good to start from
cradle
when the child is very young, to inculcate this habit of healthy living, healthy eating. I know some time ago, I know of a school that says not every day you put packaged carbonated drinks. If you do Monday, then you do fruits on Tuesday, just to tell parents the importance of...
In fact, many more schools have actually asked parents, the child must come to school with nothing but water, which I'm sure you did when you were in primary school. Nothing but water. Child can only bring water to school. And they've even now stopped the, children bringing processed packaged food. It has to be homemade, homegrown, and as natural as possible, yes. You see, what a lot of people don't realize is that sugar, refined sugar, is actually more addictive than cocaine. You try stopping sugar, and in 3 days, your body will tell you that something has gone wrong. You'll be bad-tempered, you'll be shaky, simply because you stopped taking refined sugar. But if you make a conscious effort to go through that period, you're free.
Healthy living can be cumbersome for some people. They just think, don't do this, do that, don't do... Is there a way we can set the goal and say, this is how I want to go about mine?
Yes. I find that what I found very useful over the past, how old am I now? I'm old, aren't I? Has been prioritizing myself and my pockets. To be frank, healthy living, I found, can be much cheaper than trying to live up to the Joneses or trying to be fashionable about food. And by consciously deciding not to eat out, I found that I've saved myself a packet that I can now spend on more worthwhile pursuits. So it's really a mindset, and we're going to come to that issue of the mindset and the mental health. It really is a mindset. So when you wake up in the morning and you decide, oh, today is going to be me, all about me, and it's going to be about me living healthy, it's going to be about me eating right, it's going to be about me drinking loads of water, it's going to be about me and physical activity, move more, sit less, it's going to be about me being mentally okay. And if I'm not, having a few coping strategies that work, which I'm sure we'll get into.
We'll get into. And another aspect of healthy living is adequate sleep.
Absolutely.
And then what is adequate sleep? Some people will tell you, I sleep 4 hours and I'm fine.
True. Some people are okay.
So let's talk about that.
Adequate sleep is what's really adequate for you. But, and it's very difficult to put a blanket figure, but for most and generally for the majority of the population who are adults, 6 to 8 hours is what we would say is average. A few people, very, very few, can get by on less than 6 hours.
What about napping?
Napping's great. I nap a lot. I was napping just before I came on the program. You know, then again, you'll find that there are a great number of people do get by on what we call these power naps, where you just shut down for 10 to 20 minutes and you wake up and you're fine.
Let's talk about the benefit from sleep.
Repair of muscles, repair of the brain, cortisol levels go down, all the hormone regulated activities can realign, and there are lots. I'm not sure I can reel them all off the finger, but there's a lot of benefits to it. And of course,
the body gets to be repaired.
The most important thing is that the body and the mind get to be repaired while you're asleep. Particularly if you get good restful sleep before midnight. A bit difficult in Nigeria of today, but we'll get there.
We should try.
And we must try.
Part of the goal setting
absolutely.
I talked about earlier.
Yes.
So we could say.
Just to add another point, if you shut off screens, from about 6, 7, 8 in the evening, you'll find that also begins to help you get more restful sleep before midnight. And if you have a habit, which I have now adopted, of not jumping onto a screen, immediately you wake up, do something else, do a little exercise, go and stretch, go and pray, do something else for about half an hour to an hour before jumping onto the screens. You'll find that your mental health will thank you for it.
Let's go back to moving the muscles. You mentioned
absolutely
briefly, earlier, how important it is for us to have exercises.
We're now beginning to find since COVID that it is even more important than we ever thought. And not just moving for moving's sake, but moving intentionally. And, moving with weights, developing the muscles, particularly as we transit into the 5th, 6th, 7th decades of life. It is vitally important to get at least 3 hours a week of intentional, vigorous exercise, whatever form of exercise that may be. But even walking has much more benefit than we ever realize. So nobody should say, but I can't afford a gym. The place is too far. Where I live is too... There is no excuse. Everybody can and should walk.
So if you say 3 hours, that means in a day, what?
30 minutes. If you can do 30 minutes 5 times a week, or 6 times a week, you can do an hour 3 times a week, whatever. But 3 hours a week is the minimum, and you will see huge benefit.
So it's important to move.
Oh, it is very important.
And particularly if you also do sedentary work.
Very particularly if you do sedentary work. So going up and down the stairs in your office is a great way to fit exercise into your otherwise sedentary work day. Just get up every hour, go downstairs, come back upstairs, drink a glass of water, get back to work. That's amazing benefits. And it takes barely 3 or 4 minutes of your time. And if you can do that throughout the day, you'll find that after a week, you're like, wow, how come I didn't start this sooner? Then if you add weights to it, and weights can be anything, putting your laptop in a knapsack on your back, in your laptop bag on your back, and climbing up and down the stairs 3 or 4 times, that's weightlifting. It doesn't have to be when you get into a gym and pick up the iron. You know, there are little things. I found that, you know, I had a new granddaughter. Yay, me.
Congratulations.
And I put her on my back and I started climbing the stairs. And I was doing it 5 times, and then I was carrying a laundry basket up and down the stairs and all that. It was amazing how much benefit it did to my whole body.
Okay, now another thing you mentioned in passing is about, you know, all of the issues that we need to deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And, you know, we now have stress. Let's talk about stress management, because
We
it's
must
part
talk
of,
about
because if
stress
you have
management.
to live healthy, then you need to also manage your stress levels.
Absolutely, you must manage. Now, stress in and of itself is good or bad. So good stress is what urges us to get up and go. You know, you've got a young entrepreneur, he or she wants to make a way for themselves in life, and they are stressed to get up and do whatever they need to be doing to make it. You know, there was a time when I was sewing clothes for a living, and, you know, come Christmas time, you know, I was sewing children's clothes, of course. So come Christmas time, the stress levels rose. But it was good stress, because it was stress that was like, these children must get their clothes for Christmas, oh, Christmas is coming, and all the excitement, and that was stress, but it was good stress, because it got me and to get up and move and do what needed to be done. Then there's the bad stress, when you're sitting down worrying, where's my next meal coming from? Can't pay the rent. Oh gosh, children. Oh gosh, yes, we are in August, aren't we? So come September, everybody's going to have the bad stress of school fees, and have the school sent out the letter saying the school fees have gone up, and how are we going to manage? And you know, the electricity bills, and that's bad stress. So we've got to realize when we get to a point where, look, this stress is overwhelming. So, and I'm sure, I mean, funnily enough, just a couple of days ago, a friend that we hadn't seen for a while, not for any reason but, you know, Lagos being Lagos. And he comes down to the house and he just wanted to de-stress. And he came with a bucket load of complaints and whatnot and whatnot. But I've learned, of course, being a doctor that I am, that he wasn't looking for judgment or advice or counsel. He was just looking for a place to offload his bucket load of stress. And so once he had offloaded for a little bit and we ordered our cup of tea and whatnot, we started cracking jokes about school days and, oh, do you remember when? And do you remember when? And in no time at all, we were giggling and laughing. Had his problems gone away? Probably not. But I think we had reduced the size of the problem to what he could now cope with. So developing those coping strategies is vitally important. And for different people, there are different things.
Okay, what about setting realistic targets for things? Because sometimes in trying to do all of these things to make life easy for us, we tend to go or do things that are more than what we can. Can we talk about that too?
Oh,
and
sure.
Of course, we'll get into the
life balance, which is equally. So I find that, you know, of course, I've talked to zillions of people, and I find that when people are in a situation, can I be particular because it helps people to relate a little better. So there's a young lady, she's just got a new job, and she's actually quite conscientious and competent at her job and efficient, but she has a line manager that keeps nitpicking little things that she does or doesn't do. Oh, you didn't put this meeting on your calendar. Oh, you didn't let us know that you would. Oh, this, that, and the other. And, you know, comes across as a kind of, you're doing very well, but... And she found herself she was now second-guessing herself, thinking she was no longer good enough. And, you know, and so we got talking, and I said, hey, hold it. There's no problem with you. There may be a problem with your line manager. I'm not sure because I haven't spoken to her. But there absolutely is no problem with you. You just need to learn 1 or 2 coping strategies. Number 1, don't talk to her so much. Don't give too much feedback to your line manager. Whatever she just says, noted, I've heard, thank you, will do, I'm on it. Simple. Go to the bathroom or wherever it is, take your phone, get your favorite piece of music and give yourself a 5-minute timeout and listen to your favorite piece of music in your ear. It'll help your stress levels come down. So developing those, then giving yourself realistic, we've been talking about this for weeks now, giving yourself those realistic targets of what I can and cannot do. So 2 or 3 people had gotten in touch with me about today, and I had already realized that no, between 12 and 3, I'm actually not physically available. By the time I get home at 3, I'm a woman, mother, grandmother, today is Saturday, I'm not going to be available till 6. So I've set myself a very realistic target. What can I get done? Can it be done after 6? Yeah.
So we all need to manage.
We must
in
need
coping, some people tend towards alcohol.
Not a good idea. Never, ever, ever a good idea.
You know, you hear that, oh, I've had stress, I need to hang out, and, you know, hanging out for some people is alcohol.
Never, ever, ever a good idea. I don't even know how many more words I need to say to put it. Alcohol, substances, drugs, even over-the-counter drugs is never a way out. The fastest way out, grab a glass of water, lie down for 5, 10, 15 minutes, put a comedy on, whether you're listening to it on the radio or you're watching it on TV, something that'll make you laugh.
What will alcohol or those things do in a stressful situation?
To be honest, it's a long, complicated physiological thing, but they are depressives. They are depressives. And alcohol, over time, that you use as a coping strategy becomes an addiction, damages the liver, and it affects the brain, affects your judgment. So you end up doing things that you wouldn't normally do.
Quickly, let's talk about, regular health checks, because that's another angle that sometimes we just go on and, forget that we need to check out what's going on within the body.
So your birthday present to yourself. Every time it's your birthday, every year that is your birthday, get an annual health checkup. It'll save you a lot of money. It costs some money to do, but it'll save you a lot of money. So at least let that be your birthday. And if you can't remember any of you will remember your birthday. So as you're getting into your birthday, you're arranging your photo shoot. If you're a woman and you're arranging a birthday party, if that's your thing, arrange to get a visit to your personal physician and get a head-to-toe check. So I can't tell you here on television what to do because it's usually age-specific and based on your, what your doctor thinks needs to be done for you. But at least it's something that takes you into his or her clinic and they're at least able to check your blood pressure, height and weight, blood sugars, lipid profile. Those are the barest minimum. BMI, your body mass index, make sure you're not putting on too much weight and so on. Do it as a birthday present to yourself. You get to a certain age, we start doing certain cancer screenings. Again, it's a bit too broad a topic to go into for this, but it's important that they ask you, if I use you as an example, you won't be offended, and they will look at you and say, oh, right, miss, we need to do your mammograms, we need to do your cervical cancer screening, we need to do this, we need to do that. They'll look at me and add a few more things, naturally, because I'm a lot older. Mm-hmm. But that is important. That comes up every birthday. And at least you save yourself the unexpected, because what we can catch early and small, we can get rid of very quickly.
Thank you so much, Doctor. It's always a pleasure having you on the show. We've been having a chat with Professor Alera Roberts, Professor of Community Health at the College of Medicine, University of Lagos, who is also an honorary consultant at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital. But just before we go, a quick look at the stories making the rounds on the health news segment.
The Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, PCN, has sealed 486 medicine sales outlets in Niger State for various regulatory infractions, including operating without licenses, engaging unqualified personnel, and unauthorized sale of controlled medications. The head of enforcement at the PCN headquarters, Mr. Suleiman Shiroma, disclosed this while briefing journalists in the North Central Zone office in Minna at the end of a week-long enforcement exercise. According to the PCN head of enforcement, the affected premises include 69 pharmacies, 127 patent medicine shops, and 290 unlicensed outlets.
the first person we ask in the premises is the superintendent pharmacist, who should be in charge of the business. And then secondly, if the pharmacist is not around, we also expect to see a local pharmacist in the premises. We came here, no pharmacist, no local pharmacist, nobody on the premises. And then we ask them for their license. And then they can't provide license for us. We call our office to check our database. They are not registered.
Mr. Shiroma revealed that one individual was arrested and will be prosecuted for obstructing PCN inspectors in the course of their duty.
To eliminate misinformation, mobilize community support and public engagement with health interventions on reproductive, maternal, newborn, child, adolescent health and nutrition issues, the Lagos State Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the International Society of Media in Public Health and the Engender Health Consortium Partnership, has engaged with media professionals on reporting these health issues in the state. The organizers reiterate that the media serves as a powerful tool for promoting positive health behaviors, increasing demand for quality healthcare services, and holding stakeholders accountable for effectiveness.
We are here because of the new policies that have been enacted by the government to address issues around public health. And first on the list, is RAMCA. We have SWAP, we have PSC, political agenda, we have small and sick newborn, and then we have the health insurance. These are policies, these are global initiatives that have been adopted by the federal government, and states are also adopting it. And we feel that for states to get the implementations right, they need the support of the media. And for them to get the support of the media needs to get their capacity built and also their knowledge increased or improved on these new policies.
The World Health Organization and the World Meteorological Organization have published a new joint report and technical guidance titled Climate Change and Workplace Heat Stress, which was drawn from 5 decades of research and evidence, highlighting that the health and productivity of workers are severely impacted by rising temperatures. The report states many workers, particularly manual workers in sectors such as agriculture, construction and fisheries, are regularly exposed to dangerous heat conditions which make them susceptible to health risks such as heat stroke, dehydration, kidney dysfunction, and neurological disorders, all of which hinder long-term health and economic security. To tackle these challenges, the report calls for the implementation of occupational heat action plans tailored to specific industries and regions and developed in collaboration with employers, workers, unions, and public health experts. WMO reports that 2024 was the hottest year on record. Daytime temperatures of more than 40% Celsius and even above 50 degrees Celsius are becoming increasingly common, a clear indication that immediate action is needed to address the worsening impact of heat stress on workers worldwide.
And that's Health Matters for today. Thank you so much for being with us. I am Yomi Otaigbe. Let's do this again next week. Bye for now.